Kobe Bryant is one of the greatest of all time in basketball, and with an NBA career of 20 years, Bryant's rugged mindset has earned him a whopping 18 All-Star selections, 5 NBA championship titles, 2 NBA Finals MVP awards, and 2 Olympic gold medals. Off the court, Bryant was a published author, philanthropist, partner of a venture capital firm, head of his own media studio, and a dedicated father to 4 girls. How was Bryant able to achieve this much? What did he do differently from his colleagues? What areas in your life can you apply this mindset to? Stay tuned and ensure you watch till the end to discover Kobe Bryant, the mindset that made him the greatest basketball player. If you really want to be great at something, you have to truly care about it. If you want to be great in a particular area, you have to obsess over it. Be obsessed. When it comes to that area in which you want to accomplish mastery, you have to be fully focused. Kobe calls it a mental switch in his emotions, thoughts, and energy. At a particular time, it was only basketball that mattered. No other thing can get his attention or share his focus. Now, if you can practice that mental switch every time, you will be amazed at the progress you will make in whatever field you belong. To be as successful as Kobe, you need to love what you do passionately to the point where you are ready to do anything for it. The father of 4 was ready to go the extra mile, and he did. Unlike most of his friends and colleagues that went for vacations, Kobe never had such luxury of time because he had to train. The Basketball Hall of Famer wanted to make sure that when he retired, he would not have any reason to look back and wish he had done more. However, before he could achieve this, he had a strong motivation from his dad. This leads us to the next point, which is never be afraid to lose. Kobe always had the blanket of love from his father to fall back to while growing up, and this boosted his confidence. His father once told him while he was in school that whether he scored 0 or 60, he would always love him. This helped Kobe to rise above fear, and he was bold enough to step out in every other area of his life, knowing that him failing would not in any way affect the love that his father had for him. Watch what he says concerning this comment made by his father.
Stuff speaks for itself in terms of what that comment did for me, in terms of giving me stability and giving me confidence to say, okay, it's okay to fail because you're going to be loved no matter what.
This is where most people miss it. They're always afraid to do more and take that extra step because they do not want to fail. Immediately, you rise above this. You will see yourself conquering in that particular field where you belong. With obsession and that extra confidence in your arsenal, the next thing you can learn from Kobe is how he took out time to study his strengths and weaknesses. Take out time to figure out your strengths and weaknesses. From the book Mamba Mentality, we get to see in detail how Kobe studied and mastered the game. For Kobe, losing was never an option, and he was notable for his laser-sharp focus, exacting preparation, diligent attention to details, and extreme competitiveness. Contrary to what most people believe, Kobe was not naturally born with all the physical qualities he needed to win in basketball, but he worked on his weaknesses and relied on skill and angle. All this came by him studying the game. For instance, he mentioned his jumping ability, of which he initially had a vertical of 40, and his hands, which are big, but they were not massive. So he had to figure out ways to strengthen them. Even his quickness wasn't crazy at first. We can take this quality into our personal lives and go for that feat we desire with the Mamba mentality. And while you are doing this, you need to have the right goal and focus by simply setting your mind on getting better and not the results. This is another fact about Kobe Bryant that will surprise you. Most athletes would rather give more attention to the outcome than their personal improvement. As a young athlete or entrepreneur, one of your major goals should be to constantly get better. This is more important than training to fulfill only a particular task. Living your life in the reverse will stagnate your growth. The mindset isn't about seeking a result. It's more about the process of getting to that result. It's about the journey and the approach. Kobe calls it way of life. Rituals, habits. No one can achieve greatness without the right habits, as your habits, rituals define you. In Kobe's book, Mamba Mentality, the Philadelphia-born star gives explicit details of his pre- and post-game rituals. His routine was grueling. It involved early mornings and late nights. It involved stretching, lifting, training, hooping, recovery, and film study. To be successful in any career or path that you have chosen, you need to develop some necessary habits of a champion. Kobe once warmed up before practice from 4:15 a.m. to 11 a.m., refusing to leave until he made 800 shots. You cannot be more determined than that. Constantly learn from your mistakes. Was there ever a time when Kobe didn't quite do as good as he wanted? Of course there was. But he was able to get a hold of his emotions by getting over himself. You might be tempted to feel embarrassed because you didn't quite get the ball through the net, but all that changes when you decide to not let it weigh you down. Instead, you learn from it. Ask yourself, why was I not able to take the shot? Kobe had a similar case where his legs were not strong enough to take the desired shots, and he told himself that he needed to work on it for next season. Guess what he did? So all his shots became shorter and his legs became stronger to deliver the shots. He achieved this by training and lifting more weights that were targeted at his legs. While you are on the path to greatness, there is the tendency for relationships to suffer. So you have to also strive for balance, especially for the people that matter the most and for Kobe. That was his immediate family. Work-life balance. Kobe Bryant mentioned that in order to be successful, you have to balance your life with your family and what is going to make you successful. And in order to do that, you have to make sacrifices. The father of four sacrificed his sleep to be successful, going to the gym early before his wife and kids wake up, and going to the gym late after his wife and kids are already in bed. He wrote that his pre-performance routines varied depending on how his body was feeling on a given day. If he was tired, he'd nap. If he felt that he needed to shoot more, he'd shoot more, and so on. It also varied on who he was going up against and how the game would be played out. Most people start out nicely in life, but after a while, they are weighed down by challenges and they give up. Don't give up. See long term. It is very important for us to see beyond the now, see long term. While you are training and getting better, resist the urge to give up. Focus on long term. Kobe claimed that he had to focus on the future, otherwise he would have given up on basketball. When he moved into the United States, he was scrawny and he couldn't compete with other kids that were his age. Notwithstanding, he gradually got better. Kobe did not allow how he looked to affect his zeal and obsessiveness about the game. This is not limited to just sports alone. You can take this mindset to your business or your job, and rather than hanging your boots, you constantly strive to get better with the long term in focus. Bryant was always the first one to show up at practice, sometimes injured, and often before the lights even came on, sometimes 5 hours before practice even started. Though Bryant did possess heaps of raw talent, his fellow professional athletes contend it was his sheer mental fortitude that propelled him to greatness. Bryant had one of the most determined and electric mindsets, not just for a basketball player, but also for any human living on this earth. Some people might be gifted with natural attributes or abilities. However, what distinguishes the ordinary from the extraordinary is the amount of work and dedication put into perfecting a craft. Bryant knew this best. So, what do you think? Isn't everyone able to apply a little mamba mentality in their lives? Tell us in the comments section, and thanks for watching.